Hey loves, Lynn Adams here. Welcome to another edition of In Her Shoes. Today I'm so excited to bring on Christine Gutierrez. She is the author of I Am Diosa. I am so excited to bring her on, and she is here. So let me bring her on. Hi,
Hi.
Mama! How are you?
So good.
So good to see
So
you.
good to see you. It's been forever.
Forever, forever. I am so excited to have you on. So, first of all, a lot of congratulations. Congratulations on this amazingness. I am
Thank
Diosa.
you.
And congratulations
Yeah.
on Mama, being a
Yeah.
mom.
I have a baby in my belly.
Yes! So amazing. So,
Yeah.
we've known each other forever.
We have. How many years has it been?
I think it's been 10. I was
Holy
looking at my
shit.
I was
10
looking
years.
I was looking at my Facebook memories, and I think you had written something like on my Facebook memories 10 years ago. I'm like, OMG, it's
Yeah.
been forever.
Such a long time. A
Um,
decade. That just goes to show how long we've been in this game.
girl, and I'm so proud of you. I've watched you grow. I've watched you just create such impact in the world. And you're, even when we first met, like, I knew how powerful you are and were, and all of that. And you have healed so many people. And this book is just like a testament of just your journey and what you're doing, the work you're doing in the world. And I think it's, for me, this is my opinion, it's so needed. It's so needed. So for everyone that is watching live or the replay, just tell us a little bit more about yourself. I'm like, I couldn't put the book down. I still didn't finish it, but I'm like, oh my God. It's like, because it's really good. It's really, really good. So
Thank
just tell
you.
the audience a little bit about yourself. And then we'll dive in, like, wherever you want to go.
Okay. Well, so first off, for those of you that are not familiar with my work, I am clinically trained as a licensed therapist, and I combine ancient wisdom with modern therapy. I mostly work with women of color, or like I say, white women that have gone through a lot of shit. That's typically my demographic. um, and really, my goal is always to hold space for people's pain, shame, trauma, suffering, and really let people explore their shadows, their wounds, their pains, the parts of them that are usually put underneath the bed and kind of like collect dust and are forgotten. And so these kind of like lost parts or bones of our past that we don't often look at, or we're scared to look at. And in doing so, I help people to feel safe enough to untangle those webs and to clear up the dust and to be able to kind of piece themselves back together in the way that they actually are meant to be. And so I teach people tools and empowerment and give them the space to really remember who they are, who they're meant to be. And we do it in a really loving and I would say a very maternal process of this mothering and holding space as the diosa, right, as the goddess, to be able to really remind people that they deserve to be loved. They deserve to be worthy.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I want to ask you this for the people that don't know, like, what made you get into this work initially?
Yeah, I mean, I always, as far as I can remember, I've always been attracted to helping alleviate suffering. I don't remember a time, even from as young as being like, 3 years old. I always felt deeply sensitive and deeply connected to the pains of the world. I would watch, the commercials that come up on TV when it was like, donate money to save a child in another country, and I would just like cry and feel so sad. And I was very intuitive, and I would say, I would tell my mom, I don't trust that lady that's collecting the money. There were certain people that I knew that like were not trustworthy.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's not good. Like, I had
Yeah.
very strong values and beliefs, and I was very outspoken about them. And that inner passion to help, and also to speak up against injustice, never went away. And so that inner call for me to hold space for healing, right? Because what a healer does it just holds the space for someone to remember their own innate capacity to heal, right? It's not like I'm this magical person and I'm doing everything. It's that I'm holding the space for them to do the work. But it was really, I allowed myself to really step into that, to step into that calling and to step into that inner soul call, as I say, that was guiding me from the time that I was a little girl, and that was telling me, you have a purpose, you have a duty, you're meant to heal people, you're meant to hold space for suffering, you're meant to speak up against injustice, you're meant to make things better. And so it was there that I started, and I never stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, girl, you're on fire. Like I said in the beginning, like just the years as I see you grow and evolve, like you're just going. Because for me, like this work is so needed, especially now. It always has been.
It always, yep.
And especially now, right?
Yeah.
It's like game on, right?
Yep.
What would you say, because you've worked with honestly thousands, I don't know, maybe this is like millions now, like of women. What would you say is it the worthiness? Is it not stepping into their power? Like what is holding people back? Like what shame? Like tell us more a little bit about that.
I mean, I think that for so many of us, we all have some sort of story or experience where, you know, first of all, there's the very cosmic spiritual answer, which is that the moment that we are on earth, right, we experience both pleasure and suffering, right? Yeah. And so having to walk with the complexities of human emotions is not an easy task. And for some of us, both biologically and just with the families that we were given in this lifetime, you add all those things together and you have a very interesting and complex kind of petri dish of okay, this is life. Wow, it's beautiful and cruel. And so I think that if you add that very human kind of perspectives that we all go through, plus being in families that maybe were not equipped emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and even financially to help and support you, then now you have a whole nother layer of trauma there, right? And so you collect those kind of big points in different phases of our lives. And if you think about, okay, that's my childhood, and now what happens in your teen years, right? Was there anyone that bullied you? Were there any experiences that you went through with relationships that pulled you away from your divine sense of self-worth or self-esteem? And then you have the biological aspect of how you were born, right? How your brain was set up, how you were wired. And so some of us were born more sensitive. Some of us were born struggling with depression or anxiety more. And for a lot of the creatives and spiritual people that do this work and that watch these things, they're probably in the camp of the people that have gone through a lot of shit and or were born really sensitive. And so they had a difficult time navigating Earth, you know? And so being able to hold that reality and understand that, you know, we have to be so compassionate with ourselves, because it's a process of being able to say, okay, this is what it is to be human. And also maybe you got dealt some tougher cards in this lifetime. And so the work is to look at all those places where you struggle, right? And not to minimize them and not to spiritually bypass them, but to really just look at them and say, how can I, in a grounded way, how can I really heal and help these parts, right? And maybe some of them I might always have be part of my personality. Like for me, I think I'm always going to be a little bit more obsessive than the average person. It's just part of my mental state, also part of my traumas. And as much healing as I do, there's going to be some part of that remains. So how do I accept that about myself and find tools to be able to comfort those kind of more exposed wires, so to speak? Yeah. And so I think that's the goal, right? Is to be honest with ourselves about those places, those pinpointed places in the timeline of our life, and also in our inner constitution, and then be able to see how we can nurture those parts better and give them love.
I love that. And I love that. And I love that you said, like, not to spiritually bypass or not to like, oh, push it away. Like what I'm hearing is like, no, actually like love and accept that part of you, because we're all a mess in a
Yeah.
certain way. And it's like not our fault. Like really, it's like you said, the programming and all of that. What would you say you think right now, just with like all of like the injustice and the patriarchy, like all of this that's going on, like what's important for women, like especially Latinas, women of color, like even white women, like what do you think is so important, like in this day and age right now?
Yeah, I think, in terms of, social injustice and atrocities against women and people of color have always been around. This is nothing new.
Yeah.
So for me, this is not like, it's not shocking. It's not, it's sad. It's depressing, new. In fact, right. And so, and, when we look at history, we see that, okay, if this has always been the case, right, then really understanding how what that means, right? Like what a sick, society that we live in, that there's always been some kind of injustice towards whatever group was marginalized during that period of time. And so for me, it's more how can we change the overall structure in the way we work in the world, right? Something's not working, and that doesn't happen by just us wishing it away. And it also doesn't just happen with one person or one moment. It happens with a lot of dedication from many people making changes, both internally, right, in how we interact in our inner circles, but then also in our institutions and how we speak up for making changes in what's unjust. And there's been so many things, right? Like even in my own personal circle, being able to speak to people and be like, hey, this is how much I made, let's get real about money, and look at how they were, not offering women of color, money, and saying that they had no budget, but then they were paying white women money for the same exact thing. Meanwhile, we had more experience, we had more education, etc. And so all of those things happen with both small adjustments in speaking up, in sharing and empowering ourselves, using whatever access or power we have or resources to share with one another. Because I believe that education and speaking up and making those changes does work, right? Does it change everything? No, it doesn't. But it starts to make small shifts that make a difference. So for me, in particular, as a more white presenting Latina woman, it's been both easier for me, way easier than it would ever be for, let's say, an Afro-Latina woman or a Black woman. But in many ways, I also still felt, obviously, very other in a lot of the spaces, because it was very geared towards white wellness. And so my thing in terms of solutions was, how can I create the spaces that I need for my people? How can I create the spaces that I need for people that have been marginalized, and that no matter how hard you're knocking on the door, they're not opening it, right? So make your own space, make your own table. There we go. I remember talking once to somebody at a big kind of wellness leader. I won't say her name. A beautiful Black woman in our community, and I remember complaining to her one day, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so fed up. It's so corny. Like, it's so horrible. All these people are just like out for themselves. I don't feel as welcome. This is just not right. This is not true spirituality. This is not true wellness." I always knew that intuitively. But I was in it because I was in that industry learning. So I had to learn to navigate both worlds. And I remember her saying, you don't need them. You make your own shit. And I'll never forget that, because here she was, this powerful wellness, Black wellness mogul of sorts. And she still interacted with those people, and she kind of kept her distance and knew how to play the game. But she was also very about her people and making sure that she spoke up for what she believed in. And so I think in whatever field you're in, we can make an impact by being the difference. And I know that a lot of people were getting so overwhelmed, and some people were getting like eaten alive online, and all this crazy shit was happening. And I think that is just a distraction from the reality that we all just have to make our small changes. Don't let social media, don't let anyone, make you feel like awful, wake up to the injustices that you have, feel bad if you need to feel bad, and make the changes, right? Like,
Yeah.
we don't have time to be clouded by, you know, social media drama. We have work to do, you know. There's so much work that we should be doing behind the scenes, and not everyone's going to see that, nor should they have to. We don't have to prove ourselves to anyone. It's about making real changes when it counts, you know.
Yeah.
And so for me right now, I think this is a powerful moment spiritually for us as leaders to rise up and to really be spiritual, which means to really speak up for injustice.
Yeah. And so with that being said, right, if someone is just maybe starting out, right, in the healing journey or dealing with their trauma, or maybe they're, you know, they've done the healing and they're going to that next level, right? Like next level new devil. First of all, get the book. I'd like to,
Yeah.
and with what is your personal like opinion about like how to keep like stepping in, how to keep healing, how to keep up, right? Because we can get tired sometimes and it could be overwhelming. So what are your thoughts around that?
I mean, in order to do any kind of healing of your nervous system or any kind of healing work, you need to have restoration. You need to have joy. You need to have pleasure in order to balance the deep shadow work. You can't just go hard and do heavy work without nurturing, right? Like, it, you know, if we use the analogy, because I'm pregnant now, like you give birth, it's a really, you know, magical but also painful process, right? And in that process, after you're recuperating, you need time for nurturing. You need time for people to cook for you, to nurture you, to take care of you, right? So there's a season, there's an initiation of difficulty as you're doing any kind of meaningful work. But there's also a season of recovery, recuperation, and nurturing. Always the two have to go hand in hand. And so I think that one thing that I know for myself is that I've had to put a lot more time into that nurturing part, right? Like taking time to go to the beach, taking time to go to your therapy call, taking time to laugh with your girlfriends and talk shit, you know, taking time to eat those nourishing foods, taking time to listen to music and watch that stupid show, and having those be very intentional acts of nervous system restoration, which is an important part of any kind of healing process.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I love that. I love that you're going to be a mama. You are a mama. You've been a mama, I think, to so many, you know, it's birthing the book and then your retreats and all the work you've been doing. So you've been doing this, and it's like another way to birth a, you know, human. So
a real person with elbows, and I'm making a person. People are like, what are you doing? I'm like, bitch, I'm making elbows. I don't got to do anything else. I'm making elbows,
toes and ankles and all of that.
So
what
cute.
else, Christine? Like you're such a wealth of knowledge. What do you think people need to hear right now, or what do you think is important that you wanna get out there?
I mean, in addition to all of the stuff that I've been doing with just, you know, deep shadow work, and again, you can buy the book at any major bookstore. IamDiosaBook.com. You'll get free bonuses from me, and that's IamDiosaBook.com. So you'll get a whole bunch of free thank you gifts for the holidays for ordering. It's available in hardcover, audiobook, which I narrated, which is the best, and Kindle. But beyond that, what I would say is that right now is also a great opportunity to think about your purpose in life and to really, really get clear on what it is you want to do in the world. I also think that this has like been the thing that saved my butt with everything going on and everything that I was always going through. I was blessed to be clear, at least in that area of my dharma, of my purpose. And so for me right now, in addition to sharing spiritual work, I help people to really step into that, their purpose and what is it they want to do. And I think with being home right now and the world changing, we have to really rethink this new world, and we have to really think about our new place in it and how we want to live and what's most beneficial for our mind, body, spirit, for our family, for the goals that we want to have. And this is the perfect time, right before 2021. There's a lot more surrender that we need to have because there's a lot more unknown, right? You used to be able to plan. You can't do that in the same way. You kind of have to take it every like kind of month by month, 3 months by 3 months, and give yourself space and grace to say, okay, these are my goals, but you know, whatever God wants, or whatever happens with COVID, right? Whatever's in the highest safety interest for all. And I would leave everyone with just giving yourself some time where you set up a candle, where you know, have a little ritual for yourself. You play your favorite music, and you go into a space of asking spirit, asking your soul, what is it that is important for me to know right now with this new world? A lot of us haven't even integrated everything that's been happening because we're still living in it. And I think that there's going to be a lot of layers of kind of like grounding into, holy shit, this is our new reality. What does that look like? What does that feel like? This is probably going to last for another year, even with the vaccine. There's still going to be a trickle down effect of like not everyone getting access to it, etc. So how can I still find pleasure and joy right now? Because we need to. Our mental health matters. All of this matters. Be safe, you know, stay home if you need to, wear your mask, socially distance, get the vaccine if you can get it whenever you get access to it. But then also make time to do things that work within that safety realm for your mind, body, and spirit, and for your purpose. So if that's your dharma to do your work online right now, and you're like, I've been wanting to launch a business, this is the time to start really thinking about those things, because we're gonna be in this new season of life for a while. And I think that we deserve to find some kind of joy amidst it. And we're going to need to in order to stay resilient. Someone said I want the book in Spanish. It just got bought by HarperCollins Espanol, so it'll come out next year in Spanish. And it got bought in French too, so it'll be in French for those of you that want to read it in French.
Yes!
But yeah, for anyone that wants, you know, information on my work or that wants to find out, I have an amazing community of spiritual support called thediosahood.com. All of my information is on my website, ChristineG.tv. And we have a really beautiful business program that we're launching called La Jefa Association, which means girl boss, but it's open to all men, women, non-binary. This one is open to all La Jefa. So it's really just, it's time. You know, we got to pivot. We got to do our business. We still got to show up. We got to do whatever we can do, especially now. So if you're watching this and you are deciding whether you want to take the time to launch your business or do those things, like, this really is the time. You know, distract yourself with something else. You're going to need it. And that's it. Yeah, just take care of yourself.
I love you, Mama. I mean, you are so, guys, go check out her world. She's amazing. You even have people that want to write a book. Like, girl, you have everyone covered, and that's like the Mama.
We are hooked up. You want to write a book, boo? Go to the Soul Book Masterclass. You need your business stuff? We got it. You want your spiritual connection? We got it. And that's on purpose. And it took, you know, like we were saying, over 10 years to do it. But anything that I learn, I share, and I give people the behind the scenes so that they don't have to be clueless. The Soul Book Masterclass that you mentioned is also with Juliet Diaz, and so is La Jefa, and that is going to be relaunching soon. So if you're like, wow, you have so many things, I don't know what to do, awesome. Just go to my website, ChristineG.tv, spend some time, explore, and you can always DM me, and I would be happy to talk with you to help you figure out what's best for you.
Amazing. I love you. Thank you so much, my love, for your energy.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. And guys, get the book. And hopefully we'll be talking soon or seeing each other. I love you so much.
Look how cute.
Oh my gosh.
It's so big already. And I'm only like 4.5 months.
It's so exciting, my love.
My mom thought, really funny, my mom, when she was pregnant with me, they thought that she stole a turkey on Thanksgiving, and they made her pick up her belly because I was so big that they literally thought she was just like stole a turkey. So I think that I'm going to be huge like that too. She's super tiny like me. She's like 100 pounds, you know, I was like 100 pounds when I got pregnant. So it's like such a cute bump. Yeah, it's going to be a cute big bump. Anyway, I love everyone.
How much did you weigh when?
100 pounds. When I got pregnant?
No, when you were born, do you know your...
7 pounds, 14 ounces. I wasn't that big. I wasn't like a 9-pound baby, but I was like a normal, you know, healthy size. But her belly, because she was so small, looked so big. Yeah. So, yeah, I love everyone. Take care.
Love you so much.
Bye.
All right, bye. Thank you guys. Thank you, Christine. Love you so much. Thank you so much.